Hello student, how are you? Hope you all are fine. Today we are going to start force and laws of motion. Force and laws of motion, all of you might have studied force. What is force? Force is a push or a pull is called force. You all have studied in previous classes. In this chapter we'll get to know more about forces. First of all, here we have to start with types of force: balanced and unbalanced force. Balanced and unbalanced forces. You have studied about different other types of forces in previous classes. Here you need to understand what do you mean by balanced and unbalanced force. Suppose this is a body A on which a force F is acting in this direction. The arrowhead is pointing the line of action of force. Now another force is acting on this body. This is F1, this is F2. Now these two forces are acting in opposite direction, and if the magnitude of if F1 is equal to F2, it means these forces are equal in magnitude and they are also acting in opposite direction, so they are neutralizing the effect of each other, and such forces are called balanced forces. Now how to define balanced force? Balanced force is if the resultant, you need to understand here, resultant of force. Resultant of force. So here if the resultant of force, if the resultant of force says is 0, the forces are called balanced forces. So if the resultant of forces is equal to 0, those forces are said to be balanced force. So here you need to understand what is resultant of forces. Now the resultant of forces means, what is the resultant? The resultant forces means the sum total of forces acting on the body is called resultant force. So this resultant of forces means it is the sum total of the forces. Now here let's come back to the example mentioned here. Two forces F1 and F2 are acting on the body A. F1 and F2 have got equal magnitude if F1 is equal to F2. Now as the direction of both the forces are opposite, so resultant will be resultant of force is equal to F1 this plus this F2, but one thing which you have to take care here, the direction of F2 is just opposite to F1. So if F1 is taken positive, then this F2 will be taken negative. You have to use negative sign here. Now, so it will be F1 minus F2, that is F1 and F2 are equal, so you can write F1 minus F1 is equal to 0, because both F1 and F2 are equal. So instead of F2 you can write F1 and the resultant will be 0. Now as the resultant is 0 here, show the force acting on A. This body A is balanced force, So once again I would like to sum up, what do you understand by balanced force? If the resultant of forces acting on a body is equal to 0, then the forces acting there will be balanced force. Now at the same time we can also describe unbalanced force. Unbalanced force, it is the force in which the resultant of forces is not equal to 0. Such force is called unbalanced force. Now I'll make slight changes here. If the resultant of forces is not 0, then the forces are called unbalanced force. Okay, here, so what is unbalanced force? If the resultant of forces is not 0, then the forces are called unbalanced force. Here, if F1 and F2, two forces are acting on this body, if F1 is not equal to F2, then F1 plus minus F2. Why this minus sign will be again taken? Because the direction is opposite, so this minus sign will be taken here and it will be F1 minus F2. F1 minus, now here this F2, okay, and this will be not equal to 0. So F1 minus F2, that will be either greater than 0, that it may be 1, more than 1, but of course it will not be equal to 0. Like we can now use some numeric value here. Suppose if F1 is not equal to F2, resultant force is equal to F1 minus F2. Now if F1 is equal to 10 Newton, F2 is equal to 20 Newton, then resultant force is equal to forces is equal to, this is F1 minus F2. Okay, F1 minus F2 from here, F1 minus F2. F1, what is the value of F1? 10 Newton minus F2 20 Newton. This is 20. Now 10 minus 20, that will be minus 10 Newton. So the force acting here is unbalanced force. What? Unbalanced force. Now, what can balanced force do? What can unbalanced force do? Balanced forces cannot produce motion in a body. You might have seen the game of tug of war. In the game of tug of war, two sides are there. They pull the rope. When they pull the rope on their side, the force applied by each party is opposite to each other. Now in that scenario, in that situation, till the forces being applied from both the side is equal, the rope doesn't move at all. So till there is balanced force, there is no movement in the rope. But the moment at which one party, one side applied more force than another one, the center of the rope that get moved to the side of another party which is applying more force. It means unbalanced force is being used. If you kick a ball, you are using unbalanced force. But when you take a ball, press between two palms like this, it is application of balanced force. Balanced force doesn't produce motion in the body. Unbalanced force cause motion in the body. So students, you might have understood balanced and unbalanced forces. Now we'll go to next part. Newton's law of motion. Actually, law of motion was initially illustrated by Galileo, but later on Newton postulated it as law. So Newton's law of motion, Newton's first law of motion. Newton's first law of motion states that a body in rest or in the uniform motion in the straight line will try to remain in the state of rest or of uniform motion until it is acted upon by an external force. Means the body, suppose this body A is at rest, it is at rest, so it will try to remain in rest until it is acted upon by an unbalanced force. When an unbalanced force act on this body, it will either change the state of this body or try to change the state of the body. Like if this board is pushed like this, it is not moving, but a kind of force is being applied on this board. So the force is trying to change the state of the body. While if the cell phone is pushed, it can move. Means the force was sufficient here to change the state of that cell phone. It means the body will either face the change in the state of rest or of uniform motion by the application of force here. For an example, when you kick a ball, the ball starts rolling on the ground. It means the force which has been applied on the ball, it has made the ball to move. When you apply brakes in your bicycle, the bicycle slowly, its speed slows down and finally it comes to rest. It means the force which has been applied by the brake, it has made the bicycle come to rest. Suddenly when the bus gets stopped, your body leans forward. On a turning track, when the bus turns or take a sharp turn, our body also get displaced. So why it is so? All these things are here. So first of all, Newton's first law of motion states that a body in rest or uniform motion in the straight line will try to remain in its own state until it is acted upon by an external force. इसको हम ऐसे समझ सकते हैं कि कोई भी वस्तु अपनी स्टेट ऑफ रेस्ट या स्टेट ऑफ मोशन में तब तक रहेगी जब तक कि उस पर कोई बाहरी अनबैलेंस्ड फोर्स नहीं लगेगा। अगर ये बोर्ड यहाँ टंगी हुई है तो इस पर जब तक कोई फोर्स नहीं लगेगा तो सदियों तक इस तरह से टंगी हुई रह सकती है, लेकिन जब इस पर फोर्स लगेगा तो ये अपने जगह से इस तरह से हिल सकती है, ये मोशन में है। यही है न्यूटन्स फर्स्ट लॉ ऑफ मोशन। यहाँ जो ये फोर्स लगाया, इस फोर्स की वजह से ये बोर्ड मूव कर रही है, लेकिन अगर कोई फोर्स इस पर ना लगे तो सदियों तक ये इसी तरह से रहेगी, यानी कि इसकी एक टेंडेंसी रहेगी कि ये अपने इसी स्थिति में बनी रहेगी। यही है न्यूटन्स फर्स्ट लॉ ऑफ मोशन। अ बॉडी इन रेस्ट और इन द यूनिफॉर्म मोशन will try to remain in its own state until an external force is applied on it. उसी तरह गति में अगर कोई वस्तु है तो जब तक उसकी गति को विरोध करने के लिए कोई फोर्स ना लगे, चाहे हो सकता है वो फ्रिक्शन फोर्स हो जो उसकी गति को विरोध करता हो, अपोज करता हो, यदि वैसा फोर्स ना लगे, कोई ऐसा सरफेस उसको मिले जिस पे कि कोई बॉल रोल कर रहा है या कोई आदमी दौड़ रहा है, तो उसे कोई फ्रिक्शन, कोई अवरोध ना हो, तो एक जिस फोर्स के साथ वो शुरू करेगा तो हमेशा के लिए उसी मोशन में वो आगे बढ़ता रह सकता है। इसीलिए न्यूटन ने ये फर्स्ट लॉ प्रपोज किया जिसमें उन्होंने कहा कि अ बॉडी इन रेस्ट और इन यूनिफॉर्म मोशन विल ट्राई टू रिमेन इन इट्स ऑन स्टेट अंटिल इट इज़ एक्टेड अपॉन बाय एन एक्सटर्नल फोर्स। सो स्टूडेंट्स, आई होप you might have understood what is Newton's first law of motion. Now after this we will start another topic, inertia. Yes, inertia, it is a natural property of the body. Each and every body has a tendency to remain in its own state, whether it is a state of rest or a state of motion. A body which is in the state of motion, it will try to remain in the state of motion, while a body which is at rest, it will try to remain in the state of rest. So this tendency is applicable in case of each and every object, and this natural tendency of object to remain in its own state, whether it is a state of rest or a state of motion, is said to be inertia. So what is inertia? Inertia is the tendency of an object to try to remain in its own state. In other words, you may say inertia is the ability to resist changes. Inertia is the ability to resist changes in the state of rest or in the state of motion. Or in a nutshell, you can say inertia is the ability, natural ability of an object to resist changes in its state. So if this board is hanging, it will try to remain in its own state. If somebody is running, he or she will try to remain in the same state of motion, and this is a natural tendency of object. It is applicable in each and every object. That is why while you are running, if you want to stop suddenly, you can't. If you try to do so, you may fall. That is why you might have seen athletes after reaching the target point, they do not stop suddenly. They keep on moving ahead in a jogging condition. Why? Because the tendency of the body is to be in the motion, in the state of motion. That is why suddenly it doesn't stop. While you are inside a running bus and the driver jams on the brake suddenly, your body moves forward. Sometimes you hit with the front seat. Why? Because when the body when the bus is moving, your body is also sharing the motion of the bus or the car, and suddenly if the bus or car stops, your body also try to remain in the state of motion there, but the car has stopped, so your body moves forward, and sometime you may collide with the front seat. So this is inertia of motion. Now inertia of rest. A body in rest try to remain in its own state, because if you want to lift something and apply some force, sometime you find that you have the force which has been applied by you, that is not sufficient. Suppose this is a box and you have applied a force on it to move it. Now at the first attempt, when you applied force F1, it didn't move. As it didn't move, it means it has shown the tendency ki no, I will not move. You have applied force, but it is not sufficient, and the box is also showing the tendency to remain on its state, that is state of rest. Now, so what will you do? You will increase the force, you will add some more force, you will call your friend and you will ask them to help. Okay, they will add some force, that is F2. Now the sum of your force applied by you and your friends, now it is sufficient to overcome that tendency of being in rest, and now this box moves through a distance. It moved through a distance. So what does this show? Why in the first case your own force was not sufficient to move it? Because it had the tendency to be in rest. That is why it tried to be in rest. But when more force was applied on it, it overcome that tendency, and thus the box moved. So this is inertia of rest. So what is inertia of rest? The tendency of a body by virtue of which it try to remain in its own state of rest is said to be inertia of rest. Now the third type, inertia of direction. Yes, inertia of direction you all might have seen. Sometime while you are sitting in a bus and the bus take a sharp turn, you feel ki you might be displaced from your seat when it takes the turn. What is this? Your body, the bus was going in a straight line, your body was also in the same straight line, but suddenly when the bus takes the turn on the road, your body try to be in the same straight line, but the bus has got the turn, so it seems that you will get displaced from the seat. This is due to inertia of direction. So inertia of rest, inertia of motion, inertia of direction, it is clear. Now let us discuss the factors on which inertia depends. Actually, inertia depends on mass of the body. Higher the mass, higher is the inertia. Smaller the mass, lower the inertia. A body which has large mass, that body will possess more inertia. A body which has a small mass, that body has less inertia. So inertia of the body is directly proportional to the quantity of matter present in that body. More mass, more inertia; less mass, less inertia. That is why a heavy truck is difficult to be stopped by one person, but a small toy truck can be stopped easily by you. Why? Because in toy truck the mass is less, so inertia is less, and you can easily overcome its tendency of being in motion. So when you apply a small amount of force, that toy truck will stop. But when you are having a truck on your path which is loaded, or even if it is not loaded, it has a huge mass, so if you try to overcome its tendency of motion and bring in rest, it won't be possible by you alone, because it has got more inertia. And at that time what you do? Would you go to apply force and stop the truck? Of course not. You will get aside. Why? Because it has larger mass, it has larger inertia, so it needs larger force to be opposed to bring it into rest. So students, mass is the measure of inertia. What? Mass is the measure of inertia. I think you all might have understood inertia. After this, one more point I'll add here in this clip, that is why Newton's first law of motion is called law of inertia. Newton's first law of motion is called law of inertia because Newton's first law states that a body in rest or in motion will try to remain in its own state until it is acted upon by an unbalanced force. The same thing is there in case of inertia also, because a body has natural tendency to resist any change. It means to resist any change in the state, it means it will try to remain in its own state. That is why Newton's first law of motion is also called law of inertia. The activity, this is a glass tumbler, put a cardboard over it. Now on this cardboard put a coin. Now hit the cardboard. What will happen? When you will hit the cardboard with certain force, what will happen? The cardboard will move in the direction of line of action of force, and finally when the cardboard will move from here, now it is found that the cardboard reached here, but this coin, will it remain here in air? Of course not. This coin will fall at the bottom of the glass tumbler. From here why it moved, why it has fallen inside the tumbler? Because this coin which was on the cardboard, it had a tendency to remain in its own state of rest. So when we strike the card with a force, the striked card moved in the line of action of force, but the coin remained in its own position, and finally it has fallen in the glass. This activity shows that the body has got natural tendency to resist the change, and due to that tendency it has fallen in the glass. So students, this is too much for this clip. Go again and again through this video. Just subscribe it, like it, comment it. Thank you. Keep on watching.